next data class or data vector type data is list. And list is like tuple except that it is mutable. Okay. And you have to define a list with square brackets, because if you don't have square brackets, then Python is going to assume it is a tuple and it will create a tuple. We want, so we need to put the square bracket. So here again, like tuple, you can have mix of data types. You can have some numbers, you can have integers, floating point, strings, Boolean, none, and so on. So here if you want a Boolean, so if you add false like that, it's going to add that as an element. Okay. So collection of Python objects, each object is separated by comma. The entire sequence must be enclosed by square brackets, because otherwise if you don't use square brackets, tuple will get created. The elements can be of different data types, okay, variable length and mutable. So that tuple, once you create, if it has like 5 elements, that's it, it's fixed. You cannot change it to a 4-element tuple or a 6-element tuple. It's fixed in length because it is immutable. Okay. List is mutable, and therefore it is a variable length. You can add more elements to it, you can take away elements from it. And if you have other data types, you can convert them into a tuple using the list, into a list using a list function. Like tuple function, we have a list function. So if you have a tuple that you want to convert that into a list, then you'll use the list function. So used to convert tuple into a list, you can also convert a dictionary keys or dictionary values. Okay. When used with a string, a list with each character of the string as elements will be created. It's like in the case of tuple. Okay. So here we have a tuple 3, 4, 5, and then we use the list function, and that's going to convert the tuple into a list. Okay. Now we have this string, okay, is a string, and if you use the list function, then it's going to take out each element and make that as an element of the list. So L3 now has the individual element of the string as its element. Okay. Now lists are mutable, so if you use L1 is here, 2, 3, 7, none, A, and false. Now if I do L1 1 into Q, so then the index 1, which is the second element, 3 will become Q. Okay. That's what mutable means. You can change the value of a particular element. Okay. Next, adding elements to a list. Okay, so this is possible only in a list, and of course it's possible in dictionary also. Tuple you can't do this because tuple is immutable, and there are 3 different functions that are available. Okay, so here we changed an already existing element, and here we're going to add new elements into the list. Okay, we have append, extend, and insert. Okay. So append takes one element of any data type. So given element is added as a whole as the same data type. So add a scalar. So if you do append str, it's going to add that element at the end. So L1, we have L1 right there, okay, and append str, so it puts str as a single object. So it takes, append will take one element, right, just one element, and add it to the end, okay, at the left end. So we added false to L1, so we changed the second element to Q, and then now we've added str1 to the end. Now if you try to add two elements, we're going to get an error, because append can add only one element at a time of a single data type. That one element is either a string or an integer or a floating point or a Boolean or whatever. That one element will get added. If you try to append more than one element, you will have an error. Okay. Add a list with append. So if these two, okay, when you added two elements, str1 and str2, we got an error, right? But if you put the same str1 and 2, or here I have str2 and 3, if you make this into a list, so now we have only one element that we are appending. That one element is a list. Okay, so then that list will get added to the end. So we have two elements here, two strings, but those two strings are we have made the two strings into an element, into a list element. So this is one object. This is a list. The list contains one list. That one list contains two elements, but it's still one list. So that list, so there is no problem getting that added because it is just one element. It gets added. And add a tuple with append method, and again only one tuple at a time. So we're now taking the new L1, and it is in place, by the way. You know, when you do append, it gets added. You don't need to save it into a different variable name. The same variable name will have the appended list. So add a tuple, again same thing. So you'll have append. Of course, if you don't have the second parenthesis, if you just simply say s comma no, then that will be two elements, two strings. It will be error. But we have left and right parenthesis between these two, so it is one tuple. That one tuple has two elements, but it's still one tuple, so it gets added at the end. Okay. So that's our append method. Append adds to the end only one element, so it can be a scalar, or it can be a tuple, or it can be another list, one at a time. Now extend, on the other hand, okay, it's the same like append, but then if you give a multi-item object like a list or a tuple, so append will add as is, right? If you give it a tuple, it will add it as a tuple. If you give it a list, it will add it as a list. Whereas extend will flatten it. It will take the tuple and take out all the elements, okay, make it into multiple elements, not a tuple anymore, and add all of those elements at the end. Or if it is a list, it will do the same thing with list. So we have L3 1, 2, 3, 4 elements. L4 has 3 elements, 3, 4, and 5. Now, if you extend L3 with L4, okay, if I had done L3 dot append, 3, 4, 5 will get added as one single element, right? Instead, extend is going to take each of these elements and add them as individual elements. So the list 3, 4, 5 is now gone. The individual elements of the list are added. So that's extend, append and extend. So you need to know what to see when you do append. The entire 3, 4, 5 is added as a single element into the list. Okay. Extend and append. Okay, you need to know that they both do the exact same thing with just one difference. Extend will flatten the object and add. Okay, so here is another example. Adding a tuple with extend. Okay, again, it will unpack the tuple and then add those. Now insert, append and extend, they do the adding at the end of the list, right? The right side end. Whereas insert will insert at a particular place that you specify. So we have L3, L3 has 4 elements. You say, I want to add this element, okay, add element at a specified index location. So 2 will be 0, 1, and 2, and that's where it will go. Now remove, how do you remove elements from a list? You have 2 methods for that, remove and pop. So remove, the first occurrence of a given value will get removed. So the very first one, so here L5 is an example. If you say remove A, that A will be gone, and this A would still be there. Now pops out the last item. Okay. So we have L5 is an example, and then if you say pop, that last element E will be popped out. Okay. And it's no longer there. So and you can capture pop, you can capture into a variable, and you can use it. Now with pop, if you specify an index, then the element at that index will get popped out. Once again, you can capture that popped out element into a variable. And if you want to avoid any errors, then you can use the in keyword. In keyword will return true or false. Okay, if you say blah 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 in the list, then it will say is blah 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 there in the list. If it is there, it will return true. If it is not there, it will return false. Okay. So here M in L5, it is there, true. D, no, false. And of course, you can do the opposite, okay, not in. Okay, so if it is, if you use the not, then this true and false will get reversed. Okay, Z not in L5, yeah, it's not in L5, true. M not in L5, no, false. It is there, so not in is false. Okay. Now concatenating and combining list, so similar to tuple, so the plus operator will put the two lists together. So we have one list plus a second list, and you put them, they both are added together. But then extend is more efficient. So you take the first one, then extend the second one. This is more efficient in terms of computational speed.